Back to the Football Terrace. Chelsea 4, Panathinaikos 1. A very comfortable, a very good night for Chelsea away in Europe. Yes, they're the favourites to win this competition. This game tonight away in Greece is declared the sort of hardest on paper for them in this tournament. But as we all know, as we all speak about on many, many occasions, football matches are not won on paper. You've got to turn up and you've got to deliver. And Enzo Maresca made, as he has done throughout the course of the Conference League so far, an abundance of changes. Pretty much the entire team changed that started the big game against Liverpool in the Premier League this weekend. And there's loads to go through. And we're going to do that with you now. Of course, I want to get your comments in. Of course, we prioritize as many of our member chats as we can. And of course, our super chats. You're so amazing the way you keep our channel going. Also, hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. I know I keep saying it, but a lot of you forget to hit the damn like button to get it done. But the first thing that stood out to me tonight as a rival watching Chelsea, what stood out for me is how symmetrical. I want to say symmetrical because it's almost, this isn't your first 11. But when you hold a mirror up against your first 11, the second string, as they are right now, some of them fighting to be in the first string, the structure looks the same. The shape looks the same. And that is such an important component of development as a team. So when I've watched Liverpool in the last 8-9 years, when you've watched City, they look the same structurally, no matter who is starting that game. And that's a sheer unadulterated fact. And Chelsea are starting to bring that into their game. If you're a rival, that's worrying. If you're a Chelsea fan, that is something to be excited about. On top of that, you'll get people say, who did Chelsea beat tonight? Who are Panathinaikos? They should be beating them. Yes, they should. But how many teams in the last 2.5 years have we seen Chelsea come up against? Premier League, in Europe, in cup competitions, and they've struggled to beat them. How many times have we witnessed Chelsea go into a game at a weekend, go into a game midweek, and we say, Chelsea win 3 or 4-0, even under Poch, even under Potter, and they don't score. They run out of gas. They get caught out defensively too regularly. Chelsea are slowly but surely, quite quickly, if I'm being honest, I'm just using the saying there, they are coming out of that. And yes, they won 4-1 tonight, but I don't think Chelsea a year ago wins this game 4-1. Especially not with how they started. And Panathinaikos, of course, a very emotionally charged night for them, as we all know. They came out like a bull in a china shop, and they had a really good header to begin with. Good save from Jorgensen, who's obviously fighting really hard to be the main guy in goal. But, very, very good save from him. But outside of that, this was cool, calm, collected, composure from Chelsea from start to finish. Individually, look, João Felix, a lot of pressure on João Felix because, he had that big money move from Benfica to Ati. In my personal opinion, it didn't work out as everybody expected. He's then gone from pillar to post. Who wants me? Nobody loves me. Am I really it? Have I already fit? Have I peaked at 18, 19 years old? And he's had no starts, maybe one start in the Premier League so far. He's barely started a game. I think it's only his second start for Chelsea. I think the commentator said tonight. Might be 3, but low anyway. Stepped up tonight. And look, it isn't against the best team in the world. But how many times have you seen your fringe players? How many times have you seen individuals at your club that are fighting for a first-team place, playing League Cup games, playing European games against the quote-unquote lesser opposition? And how often have you seen that and they've underwhelmed? And you think, well, if you ain't stepping up tonight, if you ain't delivering tonight, when's it ever going to happen? And if I go back to the heyday of my club, Man United, for a moment, I'll give you an example. We signed a player once called Gabriel Obertan. And he had a good little bits, tricks and skills, and I was excited about what he could become. And he only started games. I remember him starting against Leeds in the FA Cup when Leeds were a championship or even a League One team. Started in some League Cup games that season. I think he started one of the Champions League games. And I remember I'm living with my brother and my friends, and I remember looking around going, I hope no one mentions anything, but this guy's awful. He showed us nothing in those games. And as a younger man, I always thought, give him time. They'll turn it round. Rarely does this happen. You need to see your young players, you need to see your fringe players stepping up in these games. If generally speaking, they're going to have any chance of delivering in the first team. So look, as I say, very, very, very good from him. I thought Enzo had a very good game tonight. I thought Enzo just played well, kept it simple, wasn't making terrible mistakes as we've seen him do before. Looked really, really good. I was impressed with Neto. Some of his crosses were amazing. He looked a threat all night. I was surprised to see him start. I thought maybe he'd start at the weekend. He might still, but we will see. But I want to shout out Mykhailo Mudryk tonight. The first goal, we can break the first goal down. Good play in the middle. Excellent ball to João Felix. Intelligent header to knock it into Mudryk's pass. But Mudryk burst into the box and he just delayed. Sometimes I like a first-time cross. There are other times where you just got to delay yourself a minute. Let's see what happens. And that little split-second delay from Mudryk, it allowed João Felix to do something that was very special. It's a very good thing in football. It goes unnoticed a lot of time. Checked his run ever so slightly and then burst and accelerated into the space. But because they both did it in tandem together, maybe they've worked on that in training, it led to João Felix having a shot that he was always going to score. But Mykhailo Mudryk was very good in that. And then, of course, he picks up a goal tonight as well. But aside from the GA that he picked up, I thought he had a very positive night. Now, we all know he hasn't done in almost 2 years at Chelsea what I expected him to. I watched him in a number of Champions League games a couple of years ago when we were sponsored by Tops. I love those Champions League nights. And they had quite a few early kickoffs. And KJ and I would often watch his games because he was linked to a number of clubs before the top 6 teams, to the Chelsea's and Liverpool's, City's kicked off, etc. And I remember thinking, there's a player in there. I saw a little bit of him tonight. This is a good thing for Chelsea. One, you never know. There could be a turnaround. But at the very least, if he puts in some solid performances, it makes it easy to sell him. So I think it's a win-win for Chelsea from that point of view. But look, as I say, a comfortable night in reality for Chelsea. It really, really was. They were always going to win this game. And it makes so much sense now why they left players like Palmer out of the squad for this. Complete opportunity to rest him. They're going to get through this group stage without a shadow of a doubt. In fact, I don't see it going any other way than them winning the entire tournament. I'm looking at the teams that are in it. I was just looking at my phone again now. I'm looking at the teams that are in it. And I cannot create an argument for any of them beating this Chelsea side. If it was last season, then maybe we're having a conversation. But it's this season. It's now. I also want to, by the way, I also need to thank, Ghent. I need to thank Ghent tonight. And I'll tell you why I've got to thank Ghent. I put a little accumulator on tonight. I thought, I fancy a little flutter. Okay. I put Hearts to win, Frankfurt to win, Midtjylland to win, Sociedad to win, and Ghent to win. And it was my little accumulator. I only put £50 on it. Nothing massive. And the winnings was like 300 plus. And Ghent were drawing with Muld with 10 seconds to go, and they got a last minute winner. So I want to say thank you very much indeed. I do like a little flutter every now and then. Only ever small amounts of money. I never gamble anything that I can't afford to lose. And it's always small amounts. I couldn't stomach doing a big one. But I just want to say thank you to them. But yeah, when I'm looking at all these names, just going through it here, of all these other teams that are in the running, Chelsea are winning this. And I'm not taking anything away from Chelsea. There is pressure that comes with being the outright favourite. But they look so good in this competition right now. They really do. Misha Monster performance. He's Selly with EM. I don't know what that means. What VPN works with Satanta? This one right here. Scan it now. You should only be using Nord. They're the ones that I think are the best. Oh, that's Mudryk. Yeah, he was good tonight. He was very, very good tonight. Yeah, sign up to NordVPN. That's who you need. That needs to be your VPN provider, people. I know it's trivial, but still no clean sheet. Do you know what, Moose Wizard? It isn't trivial. I understand why you want a clean sheet. I think it's important. But you've got to remember where Chelsea are in their journey. You have to remember where Chelsea are in their journey. And at this particular juncture, yes, a lot of money has been spent. But you also know at the same time, Moose, that lots of mistakes were made. And I think what I feel you're starting to demonstrate is a system and a structure that can and will yield success. But I think it's more players. And I think over the next 2 to 3 years, a lot will be sold out of the 40 odd players that are on your books. We know that they're not in your squad, but I'm not throwing shade there. And I think you'll go back and go, right, we need a better centre back here. We need a better fullback here. We need a better midfielder here. We need a better this, a better that, a better the other, a better this, a better that, a better the other. And I think Chelsea will do that. You're not going to get the frequency of clean sheets, in my opinion, throughout the majority of the season, because although the system is improving, I don't think the system and the squad are still at their optimum best. I think that will start to come through more next season, in my personal opinion. I also felt tonight as well that goal really came because I want to make sure I say this in the right way. That goal kind of came because I feel you were 4-0 up and a little bit of complacency came in, changes happened. I wouldn't read too much into it personally. Terry, I've got Satanta, but I can't get the Europa League. Look, I can't really be suggesting what to do, but search, check what other apps you've got and see what nations they show the Europa League. I've done this before when I want to watch a certain game and I'm like, oh, I don't have this package. It's like, well, okay, well, what networks? Like, for instance, one country somewhere that I think La Liga is shown on Paramount Plus, so I just changed my VPN, my geolocation to that nation, go onto my Paramount Plus account, and I watch the games. So that's how I kind of do it. So it takes a bit of process of elimination in relation to that. Disney Plus, there we go. So Disney Plus has the Europa League. So check what country has. Just Google what countries on Disney Plus have the Europa League. Change your geolocation, but make sure you're using NordVPN. Don't use anyone else's. Use that. Give you a 2-year plan, 4 months extra for free. Plus, there's some gifts they're giving away, I think, as well. And there you go. There you have it. There you have it. ZL here says, we have our worst defense starting in the Conference League and still doing well. That's on Maresca. Look, Maresca has implemented a very, just a more rigid style, more compact at times. You're harder to break down and beat. You look like there's more chemistry. It's excellent work from him so far. It really, really is. I'll take £5 million for both Badiashile and the Zarsi combined. Yeah, they don't look it today. DJ here says, we defo need a better goalkeeper and an experienced centre-back. And look, you guys, I reckon Chelsea will do this in January. Your owners seem that ambitious that I think January will come. They'll say, bish, bash, bosh, sell him, loan him, and bang. I can, and definitely, if you're in a commanding position, definitely if you're still in the League Cup, if you're still, obviously, you're still going to be in the Conference League. If you're in a good league position, I think they'll definitely look to do it without a shadow of a doubt. Our EM is, and I get that one's Enzo Manesca. Matty here. Where you been? You ain't been on shows for ages, Matty. He says the difference between Chelsea this season and last season is night and day. Oh, it is without a doubt. And it's just, it's funny, really, because in the last week or so, I've spoke a lot about this. People are saying, oh, Terry, you've started doing a lot more praise for Chelsea and Liverpool. Why? Because I see something new and different. I see change, so I'm praising it, and it's the way I've always been on the football terrace. But when I don't think you're looking that good, I'm also going to say I don't think you look that good. My sort of, I suppose this is a message to my community. The only time it really is a bit, I don't care what people outside the football terrace say. I honestly, it takes up none of my time. I only get a little bit disappointed in some of you. And I mean it in the sense of, it's like when your team's doing well, a lot of you guys are here and you're like, oh, yeah, thanks for praising us, Terry. Thanks for congratulating us. Then you go through a bad patch and it's like, oh, I ain't going to watch any content now. It's like, just turn up anyway. Just for me. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm only messing. But yeah, no, you guys have definitely improved. It's huge. Terry, can you talk about the Panathinaikos fans pointing? Yeah, look, laser pens are awful. This happens a lot on the continent. Doesn't really happen much in England as far as I've seen. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great at all. I've got one of those green laser pens, though. They are ridiculously powerful. They're crazy. They really, really are. Terry, Chelsea should go for VVD. What a signing that would be. What a signing that would be. Terry, thoughts on Mazarari in the 10? I saw that and thought it was a madness. Then I've seen reports saying, no, we're playing at 3 at the back and he's playing wing back. I don't know yet. I haven't really watched the build up to the game because I was watching Chelsea's match and I'm live now. But yeah, that is going to be an interesting one Indeed. It really, really is. Congratulations, Matty. The standard. Okay, what's that about? Let me know what that's about. I'd love to know what that's about, please. Speak on Cucurella. We missed him badly against Liverpool. Yeah, look, Cucurella. Chelsea now have the player that Brighton signed and had. And when you first got him, it didn't work. You know, this is why, for instance, until Man United are fixed in terms of our systems fixed, doesn't mean we're perfect yet. I find it really hard to judge new players and Cucurella is a case in point for this, that he joined when things weren't great and he looked poor. And isn't it amazing? You guys could have loaned him with an obligation to Man United at the beginning of last season, how much we could do with a competent, fit, and available left back now. And I did hear a rumor that you got to thank Poch for that, because Poch purposefully played him in a Carabao Cup game to cup time, so Man United pulled out. But now that your system has improved, and he did start to improve the back end of last year, to be fair, but now that your system has improved, now that there is a better structure, you're just getting the very best of that man. You're getting the very best out of him, and he always was. And you understand now why City wanted to drop so much money on him. It's phenomenal player. Chelsea need a leader in defence, a number one goalkeeper, and a top striker. Only see us getting a striker in January because they wanted one in the summer. They said they needed to sell players before. This is true to an extent, but let's say you're 3 points off top. I'm throwing this out there as a hypothetical. Okay, so nobody take it too seriously. If you were that far, if you were maybe like 3 points, 4 points, 5 points off top, they may look at it and go, let's gamble a little bit. And maybe let's break the bank in January. We'll work out a way of balancing the books in the summer. And if you break the bank and it turns out and you win the league with the extra prize money, even if you're like teetering on the edge of top four, not top four, they might decide, you know what, we can afford Osimhen anyway. But maybe let's go out and buy that top centre-back as well, because then we can almost guarantee Champions League football, which balances the books anyway. So I think that I get where you're coming from, but I think there are some scenarios that could see your owners spend that little bit more money. Listen, people, I want to thank you all for tuning in. As I always do, we're back live after Man United and Tottenham both play with a full panel. So we're going to see you all then. I want to say congratulations to Chelsea tonight. You looked very, very good indeed, especially with some of your squad players in there. And I want to say well done to Panathinaikos as a football club. It's a very hard day for them. It really, really was. And I think they conducted themselves overall very, very well indeed. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Peace.